Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. In our major story, suits challenging the eligibility of APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari adjourned till the 22nd of April. Also in this program, wife of the president, Patience Jonathan, charges women and all residents of Oyo State to vote for the president's re-election based on his outstanding performance. The federal government closes all land and sea borders until after the March 28th presidential elections. And outside Nigeria, France's Interior Minister says investigators are looking into all possible causes of the crash of the Germanwings A320 aircraft. A federal high court in Abuja has ruled out the possibility of determining the suit on the eligibility of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, before the March 28th election. It has consequently fixed April 22nd and 23rd for further hearing in the suit seeking Buhari's disqualification. Presiding Judge Justice Adeni Ademola said the court is not in a hurry to determine the case since it can do so after the election. He also dismissed the applications by a Lagos-based lawyer, Ebolu Adegborua, and one Chukuma Ochu to be made parties in the case.
When eventually we finished this case and the court found that he was not qualified, he ought not to have even contested, the court will simply dethrone him, and that is the provision of Section 31. Subsection 6, subsections 5 and 6 of the Electoral Act is there that the court can disqualify any person, whether retroactively or right now or in futuro. So we have no problem about that at all. In fact, I am to disqualify him so that the military will be involved, will be invited. To me, the judiciary should not be intimidated. That is intimidating the judiciary, trying to warn the judiciary, don't do this or do this. We should eschew that. The young man here just decided now, you can see that he can never be influenced by anybody. This is law we are talking about. We're not talking about sentiments or politics or morality or ethics or philosophy. So the judge was right to have adjourned the matter to 22nd and 23rd of April for hearing, because as a pre-election matter, the elections that come up on Saturday will not even affect it.
Now, what happened today was that the court delivered its ruling on the applications brought by some people to be joined as parties to the case. Now, what the court said was that he could determine the case without joining those who are applying.
The Democratic Party insists that it has no links with the numerous court cases seeking to stop the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress from participating in Saturday's election. It argued that it was too busy on the campaign trail to consider such moves. PDP spokesman Olisa Metu said at a news conference that the ruling party is focused on returning President Goodluck Jonathan to the office.
PDP is a ruling party. And because we are the ruling party and we're in government, we suffer from some things. We have noted, and I noticed that some people will decide to take actions. Some will decide to sue Buhari. Some will make all kinds of things, and people will say the party or the president is trying to stop Buhari. It is one of the burdens of being in power, because everybody feels that there is something that they can benefit, or they can gain instant recognition, 2 minutes fame, or they can get some cake that is being shared by their doing that. The PDP has never been involved in anything. As a matter of fact, I'm not even aware that they have 10 cases against Buhari. I noted the outcry of the opposition yesterday that we are trying to stop Buhari, and our reaction was simple. Democracy in this country is more important than any other thing. And the PDP and their president will never get involved in anything that will attempt to truncate or discredit democracy in this country.
The National Executive Committee of the Unity Party of Nigeria has resolved to back the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for the March 28 polls. This is a clear departure from the early endorsement of President Goodluck Jonathan by the party chairman Frederick Fashion. UPN also endorsed the use of permanent voter cards and card readers, contrary to the position of Fashion, whom the party leaders say is no longer one of them. They later presented a document affirming UPN's position to a representative of APC. As the March 28th presidential and National Assembly elections draw close, National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Lai Mohammed, has disclosed that the quantum of resources being spent on campaigns by the Goodluck Jonathan administration is a result of non-performance. The All Progressives Congress's publicity scribe disclosed this while addressing newsmen in Lagos. Patience Ajiboye was there and filed in this report.
With the elections a mere 72 hours away, the All Progressives Congress is not letting its guard down on what the party described as the antics of the People's Democratic Party. Speaking to newsmen in Lagos, APC's National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, disclosed that the PDP funded the publication of an article worth over 400 million naira by one Richard Grenell with false claims of being a U.S. envoy. An article which spoke ill of APC's presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari. This, he described, is a trademark of the current administration, which he added is replete with failure.
Out of the desperation, they resorted to lies and frittered away millions of naira. After commissioning Grenell to write his misleading and unintelligent article, he then went ahead to advertise the trash on the front pages of many newspapers for several days at a huge cost of nothing less than 400 million naira.
On the confusion surrounding the order of the IGP, Suleiman Abba, on voters either staying put or leaving polling units after voting, the APC publicity scribe has this to say.
Voters should rather listen to the INEC chairman, Professor Ataru Jega, who said the electoral law does not state anywhere that voters cannot or should not wait to watch and ensure that their votes are counted.
On the issue surrounding the role of the OPC and other such groups in the electoral process, he disclosed that they are all breaches of the nation's constitution.
We have just learned of the statement by Dr. Frederick Fashion of the OPC that he will deploy OPC members to every polling unit across the country to monitor the presidential elections. This is simply outrageous and nonsensical.
The party, however, added that the PDP has not stopped in its bid to arrest its chieftains to ensure they are allegedly framed up to pave way for their subsequent rearrest. He, however, urges supporters of the party and all Nigerians to be peaceful before, during, and after the elections.
APC Presidential Campaign Council claims the federal government is plotting to deliberately engineer trouble in 6 states to avert the imminent defeat at the polls. The states, according to the party, includes Lagos, Imo, Rivers, Bayelsa, Kano and Sokoto. Spokesman for the Campaign Council, Garba Shehu, said in a statement that the APC's position is based on credible information from inside the federal government. He noted that the plan is meant to generate major crises that would either lead to the postponement or outright cancellation of the election in order to exclude the states from the first round of voting. APC Campaign Council claimed that 100 trained saboteurs had been deployed to each of the states to carry out the plan. As various groups pitch their tents with candidates in the elections, Kwara indigents in Lagos have also made their standpoint known. Chairman of the Association of Kwarans living in Lagos, Ahmed Ajikobi, disclosed that the group is not only supporting the party because of the governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, is from APC, but because the has afforded them the chance to thrive well, especially in the Ode Oniri market in Lagos.
The Kwara State indigene in Lagos, the businessmen and women, and of course, the politicians among us. We're here to deny PDP in Lagos. Our father, our mothers, that the Kwara indigene in Lagos are saying they are ready to vote for APC for all the elections.
As the general elections are only a matter of days away, the Association for the Defense of Igbos in Lagos has again reiterated its support for the APC. Chairman of the group, Chris Nwokobia, while addressing newsmen in Lagos, disclosed that despite President Goodluck Jonathan's having an Igbo name, he will not get the votes of the Igbos due to what it termed as his administration's neglect of the Igbos. Patience Ajiboye has more in this report.
It will be recalled that just after the postponement of elections from its earlier scheduled dates, an Igbo group with the name of the Association for the Defense of Igbo Citizens in Lagos listed a number of reasons for their endorsement of APC candidates. Chairman of the association, Chris Nwokobia, cited the protection of Igbo interests and the acceptance of the Igbos in the state for his group's backing of the All Progressives Congress.
Under the APC-led government in Lagos, nobody has fought with us based on our culture or discriminated against us on account of our language. Our children in public schools enjoy free education, and the APC-led government pays the WAEC and NECO fees for our children. Do not be deceived by the party of liars, the People's Democratic Party. There is no discrimination against Igbos in Lagos.
Secretary General of the group, Harris Chuma, disclosed his belief that an unholy alliance exists between the present administration and insurgents. He also added that the president has been very unfair to the Southeast.
Wait for the election time to claim credit and be embraced as a hero. Igbos were targeted everywhere, and their blood washed the streets and the lanes of many states. This is his supposedly support base, like they claim today, that every Igbo man is for Jonathan. It is a fallacy.
The group thereafter charged Igbos to cast their votes for the APC, which has accommodated them in key government positions in Lagos State, and also in the recruitment of Igbos in the civil service, against what the PDP offers them, which they say is nothing.
As campaign activities draw to a close ahead of the March 28th elections, the wife of the president, Patience Jonathan, has enjoined women and the entire Oyo residents to vote Goodluck Jonathan and his other PDP candidates in the state for continuous development and prosperity. She was in Oyo State to campaign for the re-election of her husband, from where Omotayo has details in this report.
Excitement and celebration was the order of the day as stalwarts of the People's Democratic Party marked the final campaign to canvass the votes of Oyo resident for President Goodluck Jonathan and all the PDP candidates. The dancing over, wife of the president, Patience Jonathan, disclosed that his achievement in office should be the deciding factor in convincing the people of your state to vote for his re-election and ensure that all PDP candidates are returned.
You don't need to listen to APC. APC are drunk. They don't have material to quantify PDP material. What they have, you should know that they have been in government before. They were there before PDP administration. They were there before Goodluck administration. If they come to your ask them what did they have for you? Not I win. I win. You were there. When you were there, what did you do for the people of your state?
For these female politicians, Jonathan's administration is the most women-friendly and should be returned to office.
The southwest zone of Nigeria has become the battleground in this election. I can assure you, ma'am, that the battle has already been won by President Goodluck Jonathan. He's a gender-friendly president. Forget about propaganda. President Jonathan has given us more cabinet positions and government appointments to women than any other president in the history of Nigeria. We have moved from state to state. And the turnout of women and the supporting youth, if we count them, President Jonathan has already won 75% of the vote.
For his part, Oyo State's PDP governorship aspirant, Teslim Folari, says a vote for Jonathan is a vote for a better tomorrow.
Indeed, the people of Oyo State have made their own decisions, and that decision will be clearly manifested on Saturday. Voting for the candidate of the APC is like voting for the past. This is a man who cannot even use blackberries. Voting for President Goodluck Jonathan is voting for the man of the moment and the man of the future.
That as the rallies gradually round up, the ball is now in the court of the electorate to decide who takes the mantle. Omotayualo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
President Goodluck Jonathan has reaffirmed his commitment to a peaceful, free, fair and credible election in Nigeria on March 28th and April 11th. He also expressed his readiness to meet and sign another peace accord with his main challenger, Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressives Congress. President Goodluck Jonathan said this at an audience with a delegation of the National Peace Committee led by former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar at the presidential villa, Abuja. He also urged all political parties, their candidates and supporters to approach the elections with more patriotism and a greater willingness to place national interest above personal ambitions. The president said that the federal government had worked very hard over the years to promote strong democratic institutions that will sustain the country's democracy and will not tolerate any form of violence during or after the polls. Committee Chairman General Abubakar commended the president for his consistency in insisting on peaceful, free and fair elections in the country at all levels. At another meeting with a group of international election monitors, President Jonathan gave an assurance that the coming elections will not generate the type of violence that followed that of 2011. The international observers were from the African Union Group led by Dr. Amos Sawyer, the Commonwealth Group led by Dr. Bakili Muluzi, the European Parliament and the International Republican Institute. We'll be back after this break with details of the preparation of the Independent National Electoral Commission for the elections. Don't go away.
Vote for change! Vote APC! When I was younger, I can remember a time when corruption was a thing of shame.
I dream of a future where we won't have challenges with electricity.
I'm voting for Buhari because he understands our past and our history.
I dream of a time where we're going to have free and honest election.
I remember a time when 1 naira was equal to £1.
I am voting for Buhari because we need change for a brighter future.
Nigeria! APC! Election time don't come. Time to vote don't come. Your vote tonight, your power. Oh. Make you use and well. Lagos State APC. Don't do better. Better road. Transport. Get better school. Hospital cell. Better economy. Plenty jobs. Security. In environment. For continuity in excellence in Lagos State. Vote for APC, APC, all progressives Congress, APC. Vote for APC, 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 APC. Vote for Akinwumi Ambode for governor.
Vote for the consolidator, Akinwumi Ambode, for governor of Lagos State. Vote APC.
Thank you for being there with us on CoreTV Primetime News. And if you're just joining us, here are the stories that made our headlines. Suit challenging the eligibility of APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari adjourned till the 22nd of April. Wife of the president, Patience Jonathan, charges women and all residents of Oyo State to vote for the president's re-election based on his outstanding performance. The federal government closes all land and sea borders until after the March 28th presidential elections. And for more on CoreTV News, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. The Lagos State chapter of PDP has issued what it described a reminder and instructions to all her candidates and campaign groups to terminate campaigns for the party latest by 12 midnight, Thursday, 26th. According to the PDP, the instruction is pertinent and expedient, having gotten winds of APC's plans to use fake PDP campaign groups to hold rallies on Friday with the motive of accusing the PDP of flouting electoral guideline or deadlines for campaigns. The PDP, in the statement signed by its State Publicity Secretary Gani Taufik, disclosed that any group purportedly on rally for the PDP after 12 midnight on Thursday does not have the approval of PDP or any of the candidates and can be arrested. Meanwhile, the PDP in Lagos has boasted that her deliberate strategy of conceding 4 representatives and 2 assembly seats to non-indigenes will count as boosts for her to return President Jonathan and indeed take over the state. 3 ballot boxes of different colors will be provided for voters to drop their ballot papers after voting on election day. The Independent National Electoral Commission disclosed this at a stakeholders forum in Lagos ahead of the elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was there and filed in this report.
Few days to the general elections, the INEC in Lagos has taken its voter enlightenment to the stakeholders in the process. Akin Orebi, Resident Electoral Commissioner, promises that the Commission will produce a transparent exercise on election day.
And the ballot boxes are also those 3 matching colors. So after completing civic input in the poll, each voter is mandated to fold the three ballot papers and bring them out. And then appropriately, the voter will put them in each of the boxes. Green for the House of Reps, black for the Senate, and red for the President.
On the vexed issue of the failure of a voter's fingerprint, the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner already disclosed that a Plan B is in place for such an eventuality.
If we have been able to recognize the PVC being genuine, but if the finger is rejected, we now turn to our voters register to look at the particulars of the bearer of that PVC. If the details in our voters register conform with the details of that of the card presented by the organ, then definitely we allow such a person to be credited.
On the security front, State Police Commissioner Kayode Aderanti disclosed that a non-partisan comprehensive plan is in place for all the stages of the election process.
We are going to be on ground, and we're going to be on ground firmly. All the security agencies here present are going to be involved. We've ensured that all polling units are covered. So there's no single unit that you are not going to see the presence of security agencies. We are going to be there.
The safety of core members, according to the NYSC State Coordinator Cyril Akaname, is of utmost importance to NYSC and the people.
We have gone around the whole state, sensitizing them on what is expected of them. Please, don't touch our core members.
The state INEC office, however, reiterated voters can stay 30 meters away from polling units to observe the electoral process if they comport themselves well. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
As part of the last-minute preparation for the elections, the Ekiti INEC has met with stakeholders ahead Saturday's polls. The Commission also used the platform to reiterate its readiness to conduct a free, fair and credible election. Rashid has more in this report.
In a last-ditch attempt to sensitize stakeholders to ensure the peaceful conduct of the presidential election on Saturday, the resident electoral commissioner, Ekiti State, Sam Olumekun, stated that the commission is ready for the polls with over 70% of the PVCs distributed.
However, as we move closer to the election time, the sensitive materials which comprise the ballot papers and the election results sheets have been deposited with the central bank and awaiting final delivery today and subsequent distribution to our respective local government areas.
After displaying the smart card reader, the disagreement between the PDP and the APC over some allegations which may hinder the efforts of the umpire once again came to the fore.
Why INEC and other security agencies are here, the Ashet men, the gangs, the killing squad, and the attacking dogs of the party in government here is seriously on our people. They are attacking them.
I can tell you that in Ekiti State, our party is very, very ready. We have mobilized, we have sensitized, and we have enlightened the electorate, our party members, to their roles, to their functions.
Most of our leaders have been penciled down for illegal arrest, which we all know could truncate a smooth process of the election that we are about to conduct.
We are in charge, not in charge as in government, but because we know that the love of the people, the love of the party is in the heart of the people.
The Ekiti State Police Command, however, read the riot acts to all political parties and their conduct before, during and after the election.
This election, we will not tolerate any acts of violence, and that you cast your vote. If you want to wait to protect your vote, you stay within the area meant for it. You are not there to cause any problem. You must stay peacefully if you want to stay.
With the Saturday election barely 72 hours away, Ekiti State seems set for the polls. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
With just 2 days to the commencement of the 2015 general elections, the FCT INEC has taken delivery of sensitive materials. The materials, loaded in 4 trucks, arrived at the INEC office at exactly 4:20 p.m. in the evening amidst tight security. Journalists and other stakeholders had already started swarming the premises at about 12 noon in expectation of the materials. FCT resident Electoral Commissioner Jacob Jatau explained that it underlines the Commission's preparedness for March 28th. The federal government has announced the closure of all land and sea borders ahead of Saturday's presidential elections. The Ministry of Interior made this announcement on Wednesday in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary Abubakar Magaji, saying all borders will be shut down effective from midnight March 25th to midnight Saturday March 28th. The ministry says the borders would be closed to allow for the peaceful conduct of the forthcoming national elections. It also added that the Nigeria Immigration Service has been directed to ensure that non-Nigerians do not participate in any part of the electoral process. The police authorities have warned uniformed private and government security agencies not to move within 300 meters of any polling unit in the country. The groups listed in the police advisory include voluntary organizations such as Boy Scout, Vigilante Group, Boys Brigade, Peace Ambassador, and Manu War. The police also warned politicians and VIPs not to go to polling units on election day with armed orderlies and insisted that use of sirens, revolving lights and tinted glasses by unauthorized citizens would not be allowed. The police also reaffirms the restriction on vehicular movement from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on March 28th and April 11th. The leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress has inaugurated an 8-member reconciliatory committee. The committee, which was constituted after a brief meeting of the National Administrative Council, is chaired by NLC's Pioneer General Secretary Aliyu Dangiwa and is expected to conclude its assignment in 2 weeks. The main term of reference is to bring aggrieved labour activists back to the fold.
So those members will officially be inaugurated to use our time-tested internal dispute resolution mechanism to try to address all issues that arose after the 11 delegate conference. As we said, labor movement, especially NLC, need to forge ahead looking at the challenges confronting Nigerian workers. And therefore, if the interest of the generality of Nigerian workers is paramount, we must imbibe the spirit of give and take and also imbibe the spirit of defending the poor working class.
This Congress is and will ever remain a democratic organization in which members enjoy their rights to choose whatever they want. We hope and look forward to the maintenance of this stance of the Congress all along. This committee has, I think, an enormous task. Because from what the President referred to as the terms of reference of this committee, and that is issues arising from the delegates' conference, will all agree with me that there are lots of issues arising. However, we believe that with the support of the Congress and anyone who has the interest of labor in his mind or in her mind, we shall succeed in finding the appropriate reconciliation of the issues involved.
We'll take another break now and we'll be back with business, sports and other stories from outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
The power to change Nigeria is in your hands. Now is the time to go out and vote. Vote to Buhari, vote for change. Chandela Bibo, Kufuito Kuzapi change. So you go to give Makamba way.
Say no to corruption. Say no to insecurity. No to unemployment. No to inequality. Vote for Buhari.
Nigeria! APC!
And now to business. Members of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria have embarked on a 3-day warning strike for an increase in their wages. Commercial activities were forced to a halt at the commencement of the warning strike by the workers, who bluntly refused to go to their duty posts until their employers listened to their demands. Terminal operators had not kept to the terms of employment and payment of wages to the dock workers as contained in the guideline. Presently, bulk cargoes meant for clearance are left unattended to by the dock workers, who are waiting the outcome of the ongoing negotiations by the authorities. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, in partnership with private investors, has deployed 590 tractors and post-harvest equipment to farmers across the country. The Permanent Secretary for the organization, Sunday Echerno, disclosed this during a press briefing at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja on Wednesday. The deployment, which commenced recently, was to commercialize the privatization of agricultural mechanization in Nigeria. According to Echerno, a total of 118 agricultural hiring equipment enterprises had been created and will be implemented in phases. The first batch of the first phase of the program has been established with 400 tractors, 500 post-harvest equipment. These were won by 80 service providers, operators across 28 states of Nigeria. They were selected through a highly competitive bidding process to emerge successful out of the 1,000 applications received. The Permanent Secretary further stated that the government had arranged a training program for all the potential tractor operators to build their capacity on the usage of the equipment in order to maximize efficiency and reduce damage. The training will be at the Agricultural and Rural Development Training Institute in Ilorin, Kwara State. The Naira closed at 199.10 to the dollar, the same level it has closed over the last 1 week. 3 oil companies sold dollars on Wednesday, helping boost liquidity support for the Naira and steadying the Naira on the interbank forex market, a day after Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 13. Chevron sold $100.6. Total minus $53 million, and Brass LNG $600,000. Lenders are restricted to buy dollar from oil companies at a spread of 2 naira above 197 to 198 naira. The central bank left its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 13% as expected on Tuesday. It noted its satisfaction with its attempt to stabilize the naira. Now we join Sabena Izoku for the stock market report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izoku. Equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today as the Nigerian All Shares Index appreciates by 1.03% to close at 29,889.91 basis points. The market capitalization increased to close at 9.97 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 433.87 million units of shares valued at 4 billion naira were exchanged in 3,915 deals. On the gainer side, 40 oil topped the gainers chart to close at 206 naira 34 kobo, with 9 naira 82 kobo price difference, followed by Nigerian Brewers, Total Oil, Stanbic IBTC, and Zenith Bank. On the flip side, Mobil Oil lost to trail by Nestle, Axis Bank, Dangote Cement, and Nigerian Aviation Holding Company. Mansard Insurance traded with the highest volume of 86.2 million units valued at 263.14 million naira, followed by First Bank Nigerian Holdings, Transcorp, and Axis Bank. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
And now over to Emmanuel Ezekiel for Sports Stories.
Good evening and welcome to the exciting world of sports. We'll start with a match between Nigeria's Super Eagles and the Ugandan counterparts that ended 1-0 in favor of the Ugandans. We'll bring you more reports on CoreTV Sports News. But moving on now, Stephen Keshi has accepted terms offered by the Nigeria Football Federation and is set to be named head coach of the Super Eagles again. A member of the NFF Technical Committee, Paul Bassi, revealed that Keshi has accepted to continue as head coach of the 3 times African champions. When quizzed on the situation, Keshi refused to make a definite statement. Keshi was first named head coach of the Super Eagles in 2011, but his contract lapsed after the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. And finally, in athletics, Olympic champion and world record holder Usain Bolt will make his first appearance in the United States in 5 years when he competes in Adidas Grand Prix Diamond League meetings in New York on June the 13th, organizers said on Wednesday. The Jamaican sprinter set his first 100-meter world record at a meeting in 2008 when he clocked 9.97 seconds. His only other appearance in the US since then was the anchor Jamaica 4x100 meters team at the 2010 Penn Relays. Organizers did not announce whether Bolt would run over 100 or 200 meters at the meeting at the New York's Icon Stadium. He holds the world record in both, having run 9.58 seconds in the 100 and 9.19 seconds in the 200 meters in 2009. And that wraps up sports news. Back to you.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there with us. France's Interior Minister said investigators are looking into all possible causes of Tuesday's March 24 Germanwings crash in the French ALPS, but he appeared to rule out the likelihood of a terrorist attack. He said the black box that had been recovered from the crash site, which records the sounds and conversations in the cockpit, had been damaged and would need to be repaired in the coming hours. Early Wednesday, investigators began the grim task of sifting through the pulverized remnants of the German-wing Airbus A320, which smashed into the French ALPS, killing all 150 people on board. Their efforts have been hampered by the inaccessibility of the crash site, with helicopters finding it near impossible to land in the rocky and perilously steep mountain terrain. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News for tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. Suit challenging the eligibility of APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari has been adjourned till the 22nd of April. The federal government closes all land and sea borders until after the March 28th presidential elections. The federal government has closed all land and sea borders until after the March 28th presidential elections. And that's it for tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle.